This is part 2 of my review on The Summer I Turned Pretty. In part 1, I interviewed my cousin, who is very much in the target demographic for this show. If you want to see that video, I'll leave a link below. For this one, part 2, I'm going to split the video in half. Disclaimer as usual, these are just my opinions. Feel free to comment yours, just remember to be respectful, and I hope you enjoy, and I apologize in advance for yelling a lot. Season 1. Season 1 has one of my least favorite stereotypes, just take off your glasses and you're beautiful, which is so incredibly dumb, but yeah, okay, sure. Every summer, Belly, her brother Steven, and their mother Laurel meet Conrad, Jeremiah, and their mother Susannah at their summer beach house. Belly's always had a crush on Conrad, but this summer he's feeling a little extra emo and isn't receptive to her feelings. With Belly's new transformative discovery of contacts, she goes out and explores first dates, boyfriends, and parties. She feels stuck between the two brothers and her feelings for them. While she's experiencing this very stupid dilemma, the mothers are experiencing an actual problem worth exploring. Susannah gets cancer again and chooses to not go through chemo this time. Laurel is trying to process this information while also trying to move on from her divorce, deal with her work, and raise 2 children. I think the biggest part of season 1 that I didn't like was with the characters. On one hand, we got Belly trying to decide which white boy should she pick today, and on the other hand, we got 2 mothers dealing with cancer, letting go, starting fresh, and maintaining the lives they have now. I was obviously way more invested in the mothers and their story, but Belly and the boys get way more screen time. I also didn't like the character of Belly. What exactly does she go through? She doesn't change at all as a person. Now, I'm not saying you need to go through some heartbreaking torment to have a successful character arc. I'm also not saying that your protagonist needs to be likable all the time. What I am saying is that there needs to be a change. A character arc shows growth, but Belly just stays the same. Here's what I think should have happened. Remember in an earlier episode where Taylor hooks up with Belly's brother? When Belly catches them, she gets upset because she feels betrayed. But I thought what Taylor said was interesting. I think this could have been used for a character arc with Belly, her realizing that she's so caught up in her own problems to notice what's going on around her. The scene happened early on in the show. She could have learned to grow more aware of her surroundings, realize that her dilemma of picking which brother to date was nothing compared to what most people are going through. With this new awareness, she could have discovered that Susannah had cancer again and tried to help her with letting go. She could have also helped her mother. Laurel is beginning the early stages of grief, even though Susannah is still here. Getting ready to say goodbye is an incredibly painful thing that Belly could have helped with. But no. Even after getting a reality check from Taylor, Belly continues to be oblivious to her surroundings. She allows herself to be swept up in the ball and swept up with Cam, Jeremiah, and Conrad. The news of the cancer returning comes as a complete shock to her.
I feel so stupid. All summer long I've been thinking about myself, and Susannah was sick and I didn't even know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think Belly should be single and learn to grow up a bit. I don't mean that in a mean way. I think we can all agree that when you're young, you're just oblivious to the things around you. You think that you're the only person that matters, which is definitely Belly's mindset. Listen girl, we've all been there, which is why I think she should mature first before getting a boyfriend. But if I had to choose a boy for her, if I had to choose a Team Cam. Realistically, he's the best choice. He treated her so well when they were together. Literally, the only reason why Belly didn't stay with him was because he wasn't Jeremiah or Conrad. Girl, you do realize that by picking a brother, the other one's gonna get hurt, that all your friendships will be ruined? Do you really want to ruin the relationship you spent every summer building? And do you really want to be with Conrad? Listen, I don't care if he was nice to her before. This summer, he's a pain in the ass. Now, it's different if he decided he was in no headspace to start dating. I mean, he just found out that his mother's cancer is back. I get how that would drastically impact him emotionally, but he literally starts dating someone else. Even though that didn't end well, he still made the conscious decision to date her, and he has the audacity to treat her badly and then treat Belly badly. Why would you agree to date her if you knew that you emotionally couldn't? And if you liked Belly this whole time, why even do it in the first place? Sorry, Conrad just pissed me off so much, but I'm more angry at Belly. She spends 2 seasons trying to pick a brother, but one of them is just a walking red flag. Like, everything Conrad does is red flag after red flag, so pick the other one. Yeah, I get that he was your first love or whatever, but he's clearly not good for her anymore, or for anyone. So pick the one that is good. Belly spent so many years fantasizing, so I think she's just in love with the idea of Conrad, the delusion, which, girl, I get it. We've all been there, but at some point, you just gotta wake up and see people for who they are, which, again, could have been a good character arc for Belly. When Belly and Jeremiah start dating near the end of season 1, they were good for each other. He was sweet. The only reason why Belly didn't pick him was because he left her in the middle of the dance. Now, it is one thing if you ditch her completely, but he was reacting appropriately to finding out that his mother's cancer is back. Just because you dance with Conrad once means you're gonna ignore all the red flags he gave this summer? Yeah, I'll admit that Jeremiah shouldn't have started a physical fight, but I would also be pretty fucking mad if I found out that my mother's cancer was back and my sibling hid it from me this whole time. Besides the characters, I had some other problems with the show. I didn't like how each episode is an hour long. There are a lot of scenes where nothing happened. Like the conversations during the dead ball practice were mostly pointless. At least with Exo Kitty, another Jenny Han production, the episodes were short, but an hour-long episode? For what? I'm also not a big fan of the music. I get that it's fun to hear your favorite Taylor Swift song, but I think the show plays a little too many. I think with the whole summer vibe of the show, indie bands would fit it better. But that's just my opinion. I just didn't like season 1 all that much, so I wasn't really excited for season 2. Yeah, so season 2 is worse. Before I start my review, let me just preface by saying this. I am not rooting for this show to fail. Contrary to what you may think, I don't like being negative. I want shows to be successful. But success to me isn't viewership numbers. It's quality over quantity. And season 2 has definitely taken a turn for the worse. Once again, I don't like how each episode is an hour long. So much of nothing happens. Most of the conversations are pointless and are just confusing these characters' feelings. If there is a meaningful conversation, it's in between the endless amounts of montages that this show has to fill in the runtime. Like episode 4, the carnival episode, was almost entirely montage after montage. It gets funny after a certain point because it's like, when is it gonna stop? I think the structure of the show is a little off-putting. They skip over a large amount of time that I think was so worth exploring. We see glimpses of it in flashbacks of Belly and Conrad trying to make the relationship work, but I think the show should have explored the grieving process of all the characters. Grief is different for everyone, and since Susannah meant so much to the characters and us as the audience, I think it would have been really compelling to see that. But no. Instead, we get a time jump where we just see the characters with hurt feelings and a whole lot of unsaid words, which I guess could have been interesting if it was focused on Susannah, but it's all focused on the stupid love triangle with Belly, which, oh my, can we just talk about that stupid love triangle for a second? Cause, oh my god. I talked about this in part 1, but the love triangle is awful. Jeremiah and Conrad clearly aren't over Susannah's death, which is reasonable because she's their mother. So why is Belly pursuing them in the first place? If she really cares about them as much as she says she does, she wouldn't pursue them. Let them grieve in peace. Don't keep on ruining their relationship. I don't know what episode it happens, but there's like a mutual acknowledgement that Jeremiah and Belly are going to be together at some point. So why is Belly continuing to flirt with Conrad? This girl is a walking red flag.
Belly needs to stop.
Seemed like you were looking at him like that earlier.
I wasn't.
She was. First she flirts with Jeremiah. Then she flirts with Conrad.
Your look, Connie baby.
Then looks surprised at Jeremiah's reaction.
Sure.
And you wonder why he didn't kiss you during Truth or Dare? Then almost kisses Jeremiah. Then says this to Conrad. I fought for you. Goes back to the party and looks at Jeremiah. Then looks at Conrad right in front of Jeremiah. Then looks devastated when Jeremiah leaves.
In episode 6, the boys get into a big fight, and Belly literally says,
Don't use me to get at him.
Belly, come on.
You know what? I don't want to be part of this, okay?
I'm done. I can't with this girl anymore. Am I the only one seeing the problem here? She is the problem. Let me just say this. I do not endorse violence. What I do endorse is Laurel putting Belly in her place. Because the reality is that both Aunt Julia and Laurel cannot afford to keep the house. I don't understand why these kids are making such a big fuss about it. It's one thing if Aunt Julia is selling the house out of spite from the past, but that's that's not the full reason why. She just can't afford it. Conrad and Jeremiah's dad is right. I definitely would not let my kids use their trust funds to buy a house that they're gonna visit like 2 months a year. They're going to college. I think the show paid more for the songs than the actual writers. Yeah, it's cool to hear a very popular song play in your favorite show, but the show takes it to a whole other level because every single song that plays is like a top 10 Billboard hit. It gets to a point where it's not even about the scene anymore. The music is supposed to support the show, not the other way around. This is not a Taylor Swift promotion. I also talked about this in part 1, but I feel like the show has some poor messages that go hand in hand with the characters. The first one, and the most obvious one, is with Belly. Belly is trying her best to live a more out there life. In season 1, the show makes it clear that she wasn't attractive before just because she wore glasses. So when Belly is suddenly attractive by wearing contacts, she tries to live a lifestyle that is similar to Taylor's, the party girl lifestyle. And in season 2, she goes to parties pretty often, drinks even though she's underage. But given the show's popularity and target demographic, I don't think that's a good message to be projecting on a young, impressionable audience. Belly is also pretty manipulative. She's fully aware that the two brothers are still grieving, and she's also fully aware that they both have feelings for her. And when it's time to take responsibility for confusing everyone's feelings, she always plays the victim.
We need to launch a full federal investigation into why and how this happened. Who allowed this?
Again, I don't think that's a good message to be projecting on a young, impressionable audience.
Try not to overthink it, okay? I mean, your first kiss is supposed to feel like a dream.
Fun fact, no it's not. Belly is just a character that never changes for the better. She never learns from her mistakes or grows as a person. Even with like EXO Kitty. As much as Kitty messed up her relationships with people, she was still learning about herself, her sexuality, her relationship with her mother, her culture. She's learning about herself. But Belly, she's just still trying to live a different kind of lifestyle that just isn't her. She isn't learning anything about herself at all, except that she's good at being manipulative. I'm not saying all party people are bad, okay? I actually like Taylor's arc this season. She is the epitome of a party girl. She's the one that Belly is aspiring to be like, but she actually realizes that her surface level relationship with Milo isn't enjoyable. She finds something real with Steven and realizes that this is the kind of relationship she wants. She learns to let her guard down, and we as the audience get to know this version of Taylor, the real Taylor. I don't like how the show kind of forced these two together, but by the end, I found them tolerable. Like, I like Taylor's arc, but to me, Laurel is the real star of the show. She deserves 10 times the amount of screen time Belly gets. Even in season 1, I think it would have been really interesting to see things from her perspective. Imagine a show where the protagonist is going through an emotional journey of losing her best friend, but she still has to promote a book that is all about her relationship with her best friend. So even though she's trying to move on, her work is constantly reminding her of the grief. But she can't just quit work because she needs to raise 2 children who are furious at her for not stopping their aunt from selling the house. I would park my non-existent ass down and binge 5 seasons of a show like that. By the way, I find it hilarious that Laurel was able to solve an entire season's conflict in just 5 minutes. I just wish we got so much more of her, and it's such a wasted opportunity. And I think that wraps up my thoughts on The Summer I Turned Pretty. As much as I complained about the show, I don't think it's the worst thing ever, okay? The production and the aesthetic is probably the best thing the show has going on. Every frame of the show really does make it feel like the summer I never actually had, but always wanted. Some performances are good. And oh, one thing I really do appreciate is how the teenagers actually feel like teenagers. Because if you think about it, these characters are about the same age as the characters in Euphoria. Yeah. So I like how they actually do feel like kids, because they are. And yeah, that's all I gotta say. So thank you for watching. Again, these are just my opinions. Let me know how you feel about the show in the comments below, because I'm genuinely curious. Follow me on Instagram. So yeah, subscribe if you want. Have a great day. Bye.